Okay, so my last question is, what have you learned from your audience feedback? Along the way, as I was editing the music video, like chunk by chunk, because I did the filming on different occasions, so I kind of edited it as I went along, and I was showing it to my friends and like my classmates and asking what they thought and like what they thought could be improving and what didn't work, and they gave me advice like the animated bit at the beginning, the drawing. Before I enhanced the colours, it was like really faint lines and it didn't look very professional, and I hadn't cropped it down, and it just really looked like a really amateur production. So afterwards I cropped it and I speeded it up, so like made it a little shorter, so it only covered about it was about a quarter of like the first verse. And so I was getting feedback like that, and then after I finished my production last week, I showed a lot of my friends. I sent it to them via email, and then sent them a link to the B.o.B website, which is where I set up the survey. And I was asking them to like basically just give me a lot of feedback and evaluate my final product. And because B.o.B it's like an anonymous survey, so I couldn't see any of their like who had said it's good or not. So the feedback was really like true. Hopefully they didn't worry about telling me whether it wasn't good or not. So the first question that I asked them was, did you enjoy watching my AT video? And 90% of them said yes, and 10% said no. I obviously, like, because it's confidential, I don't know who the 10% said no was. It was one person. Maybe like I could have improved my survey by writing "why isn't it good?" like comments or something. So I don't know why they didn't enjoy it. The second question was, do you feel that it would be suitable for a music channel if it were to go live today? Again, 90% said yes, 10% said no. 90%, that's like quite a large proportion of the vote, so I'm thinking I did hit some of the criteria quite well. Or just like followed the conventions. The next question was, do you think it fits the typical R&B music video conventions? On this one I gave them the option of yes, no, and in some respects, because obviously it's not going to be, like, it may have some conventions but not all of it. So 40% of the people said yes, nobody said no, and 60% said in some respects. So that is good. I mean, I said that I didn't want to take all of the conventions in my other evaluation question. I said that I wanted to like go against them and challenge the conventions, so stuff like not putting the title on at the bottom and stuff like that. So maybe that's why it's in some respects. Question 4, is the editing of a professional standard? 30% said yes, 10% said no, and I'm guessing the other people didn't answer that question. But yeah, so again, of course the editing can improve. I'm not at like a professional level, but hopefully it kind of gave the reflection that it was of a reasonable standard. And the last question, question 5. I break the typical genre conventions by adding black and white shots to my music video. Do you feel this works well? On this one, 80% said yes and 20% said no. Again, this is like a personal preference. Like, I personally hate black and white films, but you know, like my mum might love them. So that is really personal preference. It's not saying whether my production's good or really bad. But they were just the 5 questions that I asked people. I wanted to keep it quite a short survey because people get really bored like answering the questions. But overall the feedback has been really good. I think if I hadn't have had any feedback, if it had to be like a completely like closed production, then my production would look quite different to what it is today. And it was just like little things. Like I didn't have any major feedback. And because I only finished a week ago, I hadn't had chance yet to like write off to like send it to a music company or like a producer or anything to see what their feedback is. I think that would be quite interesting to do. I might do that in the future. But yeah, that is all of the feedback.